The International Association for Near-Death Studies presents NDE Radio, a weekly exploration of near-death experiences and similar encounters with the other side. Now, here's your host, Lee Witting.
Welcome to NDE Radio, brought to you by IANS, the International Association for Near-Death Studies. I'm your host, Lee Witting. So many near-death experiencers spend years, decades even, wondering about what they've seen and what they should do about it. Our guest today on NDE Radio, I dare say, has done more learning from and teaching about her near-death experiences than any other person I know. PMH Atwater has had 3 near-death experiences in 3 months, some 40 years ago, and has been writing, researching, speaking, and blogging about what she learned and what others have learned as her life has evolved ever since. Now, 15 books later, her latest book is hot off the press, A Manual for Developing Humans. And PMH has presented what she has learned about life, death, and creation in a guide so comprehensive as to be invaluable to those who want to grow in wisdom and in heart. PMH, welcome back to NDE Radio.
Well, it's wonderful to be here. Hi.
Hi. PMH, this book covers such a wide-ranging territory, it's really hard to know where to begin. But I thought perhaps we could start with how the book came to be and how a visit from your departed friend Robert spurred you on.
Yeah. This is a manual. Let's emphasize that. It's something you use. It's not just something you read. And it's unlike anything I've ever read about or heard about. So it's really, 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 really new. A Manual for Developing Humans, that comes from my third near-death experience. In that experience, I was told to be a researcher. Being a researcher was not a choice I made. It was something I was told to do. And so I have been, I've been a good researcher, by golly. I've done my work, and my research base is nearly 4,000 adults and children. So, I've been hard at it.
Yes.
But the very first book I ever wrote, believe it or not, was A Manual for Developing Humans, because not only was I told in my third near-death experience to be a researcher, I was also told that I needed and had to write 3 books. Book number 1 was not named. I have no idea what book number 1 was. I'm supposing it was coming back to life, but I don't know. Books 2 and 3 were named. And book number 2 was Future Memory. It's really the companion piece to the manual. It's been out for a while. It will never grow old, because it's not a book, it's a labyrinth. And I was told and shown how to do it by that voice. Every sentence, every paragraph, every page in that book is part of the math I used to create the labyrinth. It is a real labyrinth, like a sight labyrinth, like something you walk through. Only
Yes.
This one you read through. And the purpose of the book is to raise your consciousness to the next highest level possible for you. So it's literally a brain changer. It's like a psychotronic device. The third one was called A Manual for Developing Humans, and that really was the first book I ever wrote. And I'm one of these people that send my book out for peer review, most of them. And the reviewers all came back and said, the world is not ready for this book. Put it in a box. So I did. I got a really big box, and I put the whole thing in it. And didn't pay any attention to it at all until last year, when a very good friend of mine died, Robert Van de Castle. Bob Van de Castle is the world's premier expert on dreams. He wrote Our Dreaming Mind. So if you haven't read Our Dreaming Mind, please do. It's a fantastic book. And his research is just absolutely impeccable. It's been all over the world. So I went to his memorial, and I was seated outside. I was the first one there, so I was seated outside waiting for everybody else to drive up. Seated in my car, and Bob appeared next to me in the passenger seat, and he looked at me and he started laughing, and he said, "I knew you'd come." And then he left. And I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. So I went inside, and I was seated in the third row, right-hand side, in the middle, and I was looking at the dais where all the stuff was put, and pictures and everything. And one picture was standing up, very noticeable, and I think it's the best picture that was ever taken of Bob. And during the service, he came out of his picture, and he came up to me right in front of my nose almost, and he said, "It is time." Now, Bob knew about the book in the box. Mm-hmm. So I went in home after the service. I just buzzed right home, went right to that box, and opened the box. First time now in like 39 years. And wow. And the air almost kills you. Can you imagine opening something that hasn't been opened for 39 years? I mean, I practically had to fumigate the house. And when the air was breathable, I started going through all the papers and drawings and thought form drawings and stuff, and I thought, well, this isn't half bad. So I thought, okay, finally, maybe it is time. I'll work on it. So I made my commitment then to work on it, to update what needed to be updated. Put new stuff in, do whatever I had to do to finally write the manual. Mm-hmm. Well, that's when the voice like none other came in. How do I describe the voice like none other? I'm really constrained to do that. So here's the best I can do. The voice is not a voice. I don't hear words, yet I do hear words. Mm-hmm. And I won't call it telepathic because I'm not convinced that's what it is. And the voice is not a being of any kind. It's not an angel. It's not an archangel. It's not a quantum this. It's not an alien from some other galaxy. It's not a loved one. None of that. Forget anything you've ever been told about beings on the other side and communication with them, like mediumship, spiritual communications. Just blank your mind of all of that. Mm-hmm. When what I call the voice comes in, it's like being in your studio right now. You and it's filled with air, right?
Yes.
And you're looking around, everything is filled with air. Imagine, if you will, that the air in your room suddenly, without any warning, folds over. Literally, folds over. And wave after wave then comes through of, I used to call it a kind of a sparkly substance, whatever it is, but it's not. It's like a shimmer. It's like, I don't know how else to, it's like a shimmer. And it's only just a couple of days ago that I made the link to my third near-death experience and my second one, because my second one was experienced entirely within the void. That place of pre-substance, that place of pre-creation. the void, where everything exists, but there's absolutely nothing there. Nothing. But everything is there. And the only movement, the only color, the only source, the only thing there in the void is the presence of shimmer. And that's what comes in when the air folds. It's like this incredible takeover of the void and that presence of shimmer. And when that occurred, then I can't use the word directed. I can say I would take up papers that felt right, and I would go sit down at my computer, and I'm not smart enough to have come up with a format like a manual for developing others. I'm not that smart, really. So I'm sitting there at the computer, and I'm saying, okay, give me a word. Give me a sentence. How do I start this? What do I do? And it took me a year, not quite a year, to put it all together. And I must say that was the most frightening time I've ever spent trying to do anything in the way of a book or anything like that, because I just simply did not know what to do. I had material. What do you do with that material? How do you make it meaningful to other people? What do I do?
Did you find that you had to rewrite a lot of the original book?
That's hard to answer. Kind of yes and no. Had to rewrite the language, the way it was languaged, sort of for current languaging. But what really makes it is the format. And you sort of noted that when you said everything is in it. Well, that's not it. What's in that book are the basics for being a human being. Mm-hmm. And the book is divided into 6 sections. Each section has 3 parts. And those 3 parts are conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. In other words, each part looks at its subject from those 3 directions at once. In other words, it's a 5th-dimensional layout. In the 5th dimension, all is revealed, intention rules. That's what the book is. And it's illustrated with those stop form drawings. And the purpose of the book, or the manual, is to give you the basics on how to be a full, real human being. Now, we think to our mistake, really, that we want to be more spiritual, that we want to be a better person. And that's not it. That's backward thinking. The real goal is to be a full human being, because when you're a full, complete human being or close to that, you are everything. You are the spiritual and everything else. You are everything you can be. If you go back in time, you're a ministerial, authority here. If you go back in time, the word and sound for God was Hu, H-U. The understanding was human was God-man. So literally, if we are a full human being, we are God in the making. And these almost 40 years that I've been researching near-death experiencers, the after effects, both child and adult, invariably lead you to be more of yourself, a fuller version of yourself. You know, we talk about the after effects. Well, you're more psychic, you're more innovative, you're more this, you're more that. No.
You wrote in your introduction that our job during our many journeys is to remember who we are and act accordingly. I like that phrase.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's to be a full, real human being, and that's what the manual does. It gives you the basics to do it. If you want to look at it as a near-death experiencer or a near-death researcher, then the book is the ultimate manual for handling the after effects, because the after effects take you to being a more full human being.
Right. You also quoted the Buddha, all we are is the result of what we thought. And then you say, to change your world, change your thoughts. And I think the book it seems to me, is designed to help folks just do that, to change their thoughts.
Yeah, in every way, in every way. It doesn't miss a beat, doesn't skip a beat. You know, new leaders, new anger, new traps, new truth, the fourth industrial revolution, immigrants from other worlds, the prophecies of St. Malachi, the crazy left hand of God, natural anger, natural fear, day and night symbols, plant rumblings, climate tricks, living water.
It's such a roller coaster ride.
Everything.
I made a little list. Darwin was wrong. Energy lines, quantum physics, forbidden archaeology, high civilizations of prehistory, dream analysis, numerology, symbolism, the financial system, astrology. Yikes.
Dowsing.
Yes.
Everything is in there.
And yet it all seems to flow together. That's the amazing thing about it.
Well, like I said, I didn't dream up that format. That format came from the voice like none other. I could have never dreamed up that format. Who in their right mind could have put all those subjects together in a way that it would flow and make sense? I mean, I couldn't have done it.
And yet you did.
Well, I was the fingers.
If anyone could, PMH, you could.
Yeah. And when I go back and like 2 days ago, I mean, what am I going to do with that now? I'm real constrained because this is very, very new. I mean, the book just came out last month, so I've only given two talks on it, and I'm going to give the third one this Saturday. And every time I give a talk on it, I'm showing the PowerPoint presentation of all 28 thought form drawings. People don't realize that you can actually see thoughts, and that thoughts, as you think them, create energy. I mean, that's what a thought is. It's energy. It's energy that comes out of you and takes form. And sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can feel it or smell it or have a sense of thoughts. An interesting thing about dowsers, I love dowsers. They can douse those thoughts. If you think them long enough and full enough, they actually take a form in the air that a dowser can douse, and the dowser can find it. It's fantastic. Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet, always said, thoughts are things. He wasn't joking. If it's just a random thought, then it probably doesn't do much and doesn't last long. But if it's a thought you put a lot of energy into, then that thought's going to last and build with great force. And we certainly see that in elections and, the voice on Facebook that comes out of so many people thinking and talking and, they build up these thought forms. Well, that's what thought forms are. It's the energy that comes from you and what emerges from you in the ethers, in the air. And I could see them when I was first working on the manual. These different thoughts were just released one right after another. So
there was a Greek Orthodox priest that lived in Cyprus who talked about thoughts as good and bad thoughts as almost like angels and devils that we can send out into the world, and they do have impact on others.
Oh, absolutely, they do. And the manual goes into Aka threads, which is the Hawaiian version of just what you said. It really gives you an opportunity then to really look at the subject from very different points of view and realize that if you're just going to talk about things intellectually, you're going to lose about 2/3 of the population. If you're just going to talk about things spiritually, again, you're going to lose about 2/3 of the population, because we think and experience and live life intellectually, intuitively, and knowingly. All three levels: conscious, subconscious, superconscious. And so the manual helps you to realize that, see that, and operate accordingly. In other words, be a whole person.
Yeah. You sent out a note from your website, I guess yesterday, about somebody's already using your book to form a course to help people change their patterns of thinking.
Well, that could be. I was advised by a book club in New Jersey that they're studying the manual.
Okay, maybe that was it.
I was advised by a therapist, a professional therapist, that he's now using some of the techniques in the manual in his practice, and is already getting good results from his patients and clients.
Wow.
So the stuff in that, that's a powerful little manual.
Well, for that to be coming together so quickly now is really amazing, and I think a real tribute to the book, to the contents of the book. Well, how are you going to? I mean, I'm sure you've been thinking about this and having done 2 presentations. Can you develop this into a course?
I have not tried. I have developed it into a talk. A 1-hour talk, and that's where I give, the PowerPoint presentation on the 28 thought form drawings, and then I talk about the manual. But I also talk about mission and, this sense we have that we have a job to do. Most near-death experiencers, when they come back, they have this thought, this feeling, or heard the words, that you have to come back, you didn't complete your work. You have a job to do, or you have a mission yet to perform. So that's really super big in the near-death community, the spiritual community, all these different types of communities that recognize the superconscious, or that fact of knowing, or, the idea that there's life on the other side of death. This almost like a commandment that you have to come back and finish your work. So I talk about that a lot too, because I think it was Kenneth Ring, but I'm not sure, who said that most near-death experiencers that were given a mission to perform, not just a job to do, but a mission, don't do it. They are unable to complete it. It's either too big, they're unable to do it, something interferes. Very few get get theirs done. And so I give a presentation, a very brief one, mention some of children who have done it and adults who have done it. Of course, I was able to do it. Lee, it's in January this year, after the book was really done, it was with a publisher, and he went through it and finally sent it to the printer. So my work was done. That incredible energy that I was given when I died, really like atomic energy, reactor energy. I mean, I've just been this go person from. It was gone. I can't sing anymore. My voice has changed. I'm a lot softer and friendlier.
You have always seemed friendly to me. I've always enjoyed our meetings together. Usually it's at the conferences that IANS has every year.
Well, I tell you, I've been so dedicated and devoted to the research that, nothing else could interfere. Totally dedicated to that. And now that I won't say it's gone, but I will say it's changed. It's totally changed as far as I'm concerned. And when I talk now, I have to be more personal. I have to be more intimate. I can't do it the old way anymore. And I know a lot of people are going to sigh with relief and say, "Thank God." She's not like she used to be anymore.
Oh, I enjoy your energy. I think it's terrific. In the time we have left, I wanted to ask you one question. You said in toward the end of the book, our radical crisis point as a nation comes in Pluto's return 2020 to 2024. I wanted to ask you about what does that imply?
Well, we have a Pluto return. In astrology, when we use the term return, we're referring to any planet in your chart that comes back to the place where it was when you were born. So some of them come back very rapidly, depending, on the transit of the particular planet. Saturn, for instance, comes back about once every 29, 30 years, and always doing that. So we have these major happenings in our lives. I don't care who you are, between 28 to 32.
Yes, I noticed that in my life for sure.
And then the 90s. Okay. The Pluto return, human beings do not experience that because the orbit is, way too long. Human beings don't live that long. But a country can. And the United States will experience a Pluto return in 2022. Now, a Pluto return is big. Big in the sense of intense. If you are in any way understanding about that kind of energy, that kind of energy is extreme good, extreme bad, nothing in the middle. There's no such thing as middle ground with Pluto. You're either up or down. And it's extremely powerful energy. And
so perhaps,
of course,
this is why
like that before.
Yeah, perhaps this is why your book was intended for this to come out now, so that people can.
I kind of wonder about that because it's giving us the way to survive that. Mm-hmm. It's helping us to see that we're not victims.
We are just about out of time, PMH. I wonder if you could tell the folks how they can find your website and get your book. or all your books, for that matter.
You can get the book anywhere, really. My website is www.pmhatwater.com, just one word lowercase, pmhatwater.com. I produce a free monthly newsletter. Sign up for that.
Yes, absolutely. It's terrific.
And, thank you. And I do have a bookstore. So if you want to get an autographed copy, you get it from my bookstore on my website. But you can get it. You can get a manual for developing humans, certainly Amazon.com. Any bookstore can order that book for you. If they don't have it, they can order it for you worldwide.
Terrific.
So anybody can get it.
PMH, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. And let me tell the audience that if they'd like to listen again to this or any of our past shows, including past shows that we've talked to PMH on, just go to our website at nderadio.org. And for more information about the work of IANDS and our upcoming conference in Denver, check out that website, iands.org. And tune in next Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern, for more NDE Radio. This is Lee Witting saying thanks for listening.